Okay, Mauser Man 52 here. Today's coffee table review will be on two newer weapons that I own, newer style weapons. Getting away from the Second World War stuff here for a little bit. And I'm going to review these together. It's not going to be a long review. I'm not a big fan of the 5.56 round. I always thought it was somewhat of a peanut round. But over the years it has proven its worth. Biggest advantage of this round is you can carry a lot of them, and if you hit somebody with it directly, it'll kill them. There's no doubt about it. It's killed a lot of people, this round. Do I think it's as good as the round they use in the AK-47? No, it's not. I much prefer this round, and I still think it's a better round. I still think a .30 caliber round with some weight behind it, and you're shooting through brush, weeds, grass, tree limbs, this will find the mark. This won't. It'll deflect. One of the problems I have with this. But our solution is to just shoot more of it. The biggest advantage of this is you can carry more of them, but the bottom line is this round's more effective. So it's an old time debate, and I'm not going to debate that today. Just brought it up. First gun up I want to talk about is my AUG clone. These rifles were originally developed in the 1970s by Steyr AUG of Austria. This is a clone of that weapon by a company called MSAR, M-S-A-R. They call this one the STG556. MSAR did file for bankruptcy, and they are coming out of bankruptcy. I always wanted to buy an AUG clone. Back in the 80s I wanted to buy an AUG clone when they were $600, but I decided not to because it was $50 more than the HK93 that I bought. Which is, if you hold on, back in the day I purchased this instead of that. Okay? This was $50 cheaper than that back in 1986 or 87 or whenever I bought this rifle. But you know what? $50 was a lot of money back then. 50 bucks could buy you a lot of ammo back then. So I went with this. And besides, this did look, I wasn't too sure about this. It looked cool, but this was more or less a standard at that point, and I'm still glad I bought it. Both guns have held their value. In any case, when MSAR came out with their AUG clone, and I read they were, at the time, several reviews, they were just as good as what the AUG was, I decided to buy one. When they first came out, they were asking, what, close to $2,000 for these guns? I saw them at gun shows for $1,600. And then the bottom dropped out of the market. Then all of a sudden these guns started appearing for $19.99. I'm sorry, not $19.99, $9.99. 900 some dollars. That's what I paid for this, just under $1,000. And the modifications I did with this rifle, I did the MagniCore upgrade on the charging handle. I did that, and I replaced the scope rail with a more traditional AUG-like scope mount, and the original AUG came with a 1.5 magnified optic. I'm not sure if it was magnified or not, but a 1.5 times optic with it looked like a little donut with a dot in the middle of it, a red donut with a dot. And I don't believe it was magnified. No, it was not magnified. This is a magnified scope. It is a Mueller 1x4, and it is magnified. It's a magnified red dot, actually, as a dot. Plus, you can turn the magnification on. The black dot turns to red, and that's all that's there. It's a very simple sighting system. This is a fairly cheap scope, but I picked it up for under $200. List is $250. I think I got this for $270. I'm sorry, $170. The reason I got it for $170 was they made some modifications on it. On the zoom ring, they have the numbers here on the front side of the ring. The modification was, in the newer version of this scope, they put the numbers on the back side of the ring and charged $50 or $75 more for it. I said, well, hell, I'm gonna, if they're selling a scope like this for $170 simply because the numbers are on a different side of the scope, that's a no-brainer. You got to go with that. So the accuracy, this particular weapon has a 19-inch barrel. The bullpup is cool because you can. It's a very efficient, compact design. If you look at it, this rifle, I believe, has a 16-inch barrel. This one has a 19-inch barrel. Yet it's still shorter than the SIG. This is the SIG556, which I'll be getting to in a minute. It's still shorter than this rifle. Some of the disadvantages, I guess, are the firing mechanism is right here where your head is. That bothers some people. It doesn't bother me too much. It's a very easy, low recoiling weapon to use, and I like it. Some people have a lot of problems with MSAR rifles. I've had no problems. I've put close to 1,000 rounds through this rifle. Not one single problem. Not one. This is a 40 or 42 round mag, MSAR mag. The newer versions use the M16 mag. I don't own an M16 or an AR, so I don't care about that. I'd rather have the proprietary AUG style mag. I think it's a better design. Switching over here, this is the SIG556. Designed in Switzerland back in the 80s. The time scale on these two rifles is the same. They both were designed around the same time. This one in Austria, this one in Switzerland. I personally prefer this rifle to this rifle, but there's nothing wrong with this. This is the closest thing I'll ever get to an AR. It kind of looks like an AR, but it's not. The heart of this rifle, underneath it all, is a rotating bolt and piston system, just like the AK. So it's sort of the best of both worlds. It looks like an AR, has the functionality of an AR, but is in fact, in the heart of this rifle is Kalashnikov system, gas system, and rotating bolt. I'm not going to break either rifle down. It's just going to be a quick video. You can search for this rifle on YouTube, and you'll find plenty of people who will break it down for you, and you can see that and demonstrate exactly what the bolt, piston, and all that look like. I put a relatively cheap scope on this. This is a primary arm scope, 1x4. I think I paid, I don't know, under $130. That's shipping including shipping, a couple of years ago. And I have mixed feelings about the scope. For $130, it's a good scope, but I definitely at some point want to put a better scope on this rifle. I don't think I'm getting the full accuracy that I should from the rifle with this scope. So at some point in the future, I'm going to put another 1x4, maybe a leatherwood scope, not sure, or even one of these, or maybe I'll go with a 1x6, spend a little money. My philosophy on scopes is I hate to spend a lot on optics. The most I'll spend on optics is $500. I won't go beyond that. I just don't see, to me, if you're spending $1,000 on a scope, I don't see you getting that much back in return for that kind of investment. And if you ever try to sell a rifle with a really nice scope on it, you take it to a gun store, they'll give you next to nothing for the scope. And you're far better off putting it on eBay and selling it. In any case, these are not investment rifles, they're shooters. That's what I bought them for. They're both enjoyable to shoot. I do enjoy shooting this one more so than this one, but there's nothing wrong with this rifle. The SIG's a good rifle. I have no problem with the, some people complain about the stock wobble. It's minor. I mean, that's no big deal. The upgrade of these to ones they're selling today, this is the classic version. I'm not into rails on the handguards. I like something simple and clean. The one rail I want is right here on top for a scope. I don't put lasers on my rifles. I don't put flashlights on my rifles. I don't go out and hunt pigs or any kind of game with these rifles. I'm not a hunter. I'm a collector and shooter, so that's not important to me. For house defense, I use pistols with a flashlight and a laser on it. 9mm 40 caliber pistols. And if the shit ever really hits the fan, I'll go with an AK-47. And that's about it for my review for these rifles. Both good rifles. I have no problem with MSAR. They're coming back. They're bringing out new rifles. And the SIG is still making this rifles with some modifications. They're putting the Swiss buttstock on it, the Swiss style buttstock. But I have no problem with this. I like this this folder. So I won't be replacing that. And you can use M16 mags in this. This one has a P mag in it right now. Okay, that's my short review for the MSAR. MSAR. Stg556. And the SIG556. I did put the Hogue hand grip on. That was another modification. One of the few modifications I made with this rifle, and that was it. This is stock SIG, which is fairly nice. I see no reason to change the muzzle brake either, or the flash hider in this case. You don't really need a muzzle brake with a 5.56 round. It's so light. Thanks again, folks. Take care. Enjoy.